on the streets being called names and catcalled from across the street, and just really abusive slurs yelled at them.
The next minute, he was very violent to me, strangled round my neck.
Coming into the 1990s, there's a growing appetite for changing legislation, the introduction of the Human Rights Act, and then of course we come to the publication of the Macpherson report and the introduction in both the legal discourse and in public policy of the term institutionalised racism. But more importantly, it started a conversation around institutionalised discrimination. But for me, it was also about what was the impact of that, and it was about the unwitting impact of institutionalised discrimination on the lives and the quality of life of everybody. You know, this is a video about hate crime and actually how it impacts on people's lives. And one of the things that I found really important was that people had often just dismissed what we were experiencing, whether it was on account of our gender, on account of our colour, on account of our sexuality, on account of our faith. And what Macpherson did was actually he gave a legitimacy to that feeling. And so it meant that everybody who talked about women or black people having chips on their shoulders could turn around and say, actually, it isn't that. You know, what I feel is what I feel. Don't take it away from me.
I had an awful experience in 2004 where I actually got strangled round the neck by my previous first boyfriend when I was 19, and it was a bank holiday Monday and was not feeling great, and the next minute he was very violent to me, strangled round my neck, crying. We had to have the police involved, we've had the psychologists, we had doctors in, and since then I've been absolutely fine.
Young people I work with and people from across the LGBT community have told me lots of instances and shared instances of hate crimes against them. The consistencies, the things that come up the most are things like when LGBT people are out and on the streets being called names and catcalled from across the street, and just really abusive slurs yelled at them. For young people that are in schools, they get bullied. So whether they're LGBT or just their peers perceive them as LGBT. They seem to get messages on social media about how awful they are and how they should not exist and how they should commit suicide. There are very few LGBT people that feel safe throughout their whole lives.
When I was at my own centre, went up the road, get something from, I forget where it was, from the shop. And I had quite a bit of money in my bag. And when I got home, my father asked me to get something out of my bag. I went to get it and my purse wasn't there. Someone stole my purse.
I had an incident at our car park, which is a private car park, and a gentleman came in and parked, and I kindly told him to remove his vehicle. And at first he was questioning me that he can park anywhere he likes, and I told him and I showed him the signs of the car park that he's not allowed to park at the centre because it's for the service users, and the service users are disabled, they need it more. As I keep telling him not to park or not to, he shouldn't be parking, he started getting agitated, and unfortunately he then made a racist comment, which at that point I just left the car park and went back in the centre to avoid any more confrontation.
I suppose that a lot of people experience unpleasant behaviour, harassment, and can be the victims of crime, whether that's physical violence or theft or burglary. So people can be the victims of crime, but it becomes a hate crime when those crimes are motivated or are exacerbated because people have been targeted because of who they are, whether they're gay, because of their religion, whether they're disabled. And it's this that makes it a hate crime.
Most of the information that we've heard, and I think this is part about the challenge about reporting hate crime. So what happens is people will tell us stories on an individual basis, but what they don't want to do is record it.
Part of the improvement is to see the figures go up so that people do feel confident that they are reporting it, and to get a sense of when that peaks and then see it go down. Because until we understand the full extent of hate crime and how it occurs, where it occurs, when it occurs, to build up a pattern, people have to be reporting it. And it's only through people reporting it that you can get the resources in the right place, you can get the right number of police, the right number of PCSOs, and start to combat the most likely places where it occurs.
So a recent example I'll use is an incident that happened between two neighbours where one of the neighbours used inappropriate language specifically around someone's disability when they were trying to get past them in a communal corridor. So this was dealt with in a manner of taking statement from the victim, ensuring that safeguarding procedures were put in place so that the victim felt safe and were able to go about their daily lives, and then speaking to the suspect that they'd identified, asking them to come into the police station to interview them under caution, and they were able to give us information from their side of the story, and as a result of the impact that it had on the victim's life, we were able to push for a positive outcome. In this case, the suspect was cautioned for the offence, and better safeguarding procedures have been put in place to stop any escalation for further offences happening.
Hate crime isn't the only offence that happens out there that people don't necessarily want to tell the police about, and that's something we have to work with our local communities to try and improve. We're never going to get it perfect, but the idea is we can try and get it better.
Some people find it uncomfortable to go by themselves to reporting it to police station, so they'd rather go to Barnet Inclusion, where they know they can tell a proper staff member. That will be really good to have police being trained and to communicate with people with learning disabilities.
Unfortunately, they feel that they are at fault, so they don't want to go to the police to report it. The other thing is that they don't know the facilities that are available. Some find it difficult. They think that they have to go to a police station to go and report. Some are not aware that a police officer can turn up at their house and take report and a statement, or there's reporting sites like ourselves.
So for anybody who's been a victim of hate crime, there are three main options. The first is in an emergency. People should always call 999 and ring the police. People can also report themselves to the police, either at police stations or online. But we know that a lot of people don't like to do that. So by having the hate crime reporting sites based in voluntary organisations, it gives people the chance to come and perhaps go to a place they're familiar, to talk to people who know them well, who can take down the details of the incident. It means that they can then follow it up on behalf of the person, and in that way make sure that the reports get to the police. What we also want to do though, as well as taking down the details of the hate crime incidents and the hate crimes, is to offer more support to people. So as part of the process, what we built in is a way of signposting support for people, so that they can go to one of the voluntary organisations in Barnet who can provide advice and information and other help, as well as dealing with the hate crime itself.